Hello there, and welcome back to War Thunder. And I know it's been a while, over a month now since the last video, and there has happened quite a bit in between, but sadly not so far, not all that much in War Thunder, hence I didn't really have all that much to show you for. And today I'm playing for the first time the Trento class RN Bolzano in its 1937 configuration, and this heavy cruiser at battle rating 5.3 in the Italian tech tree at rank 4 is actually something that was a bit overlooked by me. Now it has the same 8 203mm guns that you also see later on the 5.7 heavy cruisers, the RN Polo and the RN Zara of the Zara class. And they have more armor, a bit better AA. However, you have torpedoes. 16 of the not all that great 533mm SI 270-50 533mm torpedoes, because they are in fixed tubes, so you can launch 4 out of those fixed launches. Then you have a complete set of reloads, so 8 per side. Now, the armor basically is very much an all or nothing armor scheme, with only 70mm for the broadside and 50mm for the deck and 60mm for the bulkhead, and the turret faces have 100mm. And yeah, so this ship kind of eats a lot of damage. And aside from the guns, you do not really have all that much to show for. The guns and the ammunition is overall fine, but the 17-second reload really hurt. The HE is semi-okay with only 7.5 kilograms of TNT. I think the British 8-inch guns have 10 kilograms, and I think 8.8 kilograms for the Hipper class. And yeah, I just wanted to simply spade the ship, just see how it goes. And what you see me doing right here is making myself a really unattractive target. I do this by, changing the course all the time a little bit, by mostly angling away. And this angling away makes it really unattractive to be shot at for the enemies, because they don't get the juicy broadside hits. They also very often do not see you as the priority, because if you are, as I am here, in an up tier with the likes of Des Moines and battleships, well, the enemy has to get rid of the supposedly more dangerous guns, and those other guns are significantly more dangerous, but you still are there. And if you don't get shot for 10-15 minutes, you can on average pump out still a lot of salvos, and some of them are going to hit. Now I say some of them because the aiming system, the rangefinder, all this is what you have to fight all the time. And your dispersion from 8 guns with this long reload, it can be frustrating. Therefore, other ships with a faster reload and or more guns are just so much more satisfying to play. And also, you don't have the best AA, so you can be threatened by a lot of things. And as much as I love to talk about angling and how effective it can make the armor versus 6 or 8-inch guns or bigger, your 70mm just aren't that great. What the away angling does is screw up the enemy's aim, and a lot of people are not used to aim for ships that are, in comparison to them, sailing away. Now you can see this map is kind of limited. If I would turn away sharper, and not just would ruin my firing angles for the front armament, but I would also at some point hit the island, and then I have less freedom of maneuvering. So here I'm happily blazing away. The other ships closer to the enemy take the brunt of the attention, and you can see I'm trying the best, but salvo after salvo is either straddling the enemy or not doing any damage because it's over penetration or not doing enough damage. But once in a while you hit the sweet spot, and if you do this long enough, you actually get your results in. At least that's what I hope. So coming back to a different topic, I would have loved to make a video about the May sales and the premium packs with discounts, but when it comes to ships or even boats, there aren't any. And that is really weird because I thought Gaijin would be somewhat interested in raising the player base and giving discounts on heavily overpriced premiums would be a good thing. Also, it's the 80th anniversary of the end of World War I, at least in Europe. So, it's kind of that date that would offer itself as a good opportunity to do this, but nothing, not at all. I mean, there were discounts for probably ships that are available for GE, but no premium packs. And that annoys me quite a bit. Also, aside from the HE changes, which I still have to explore a little bit with various ships, to get a good idea what I'm talking about. Aside from this, well, there isn't anything new in terms of ships, mechanics, maps, tech tree changes, battle rating changes. Nothing has really changed, and it has come a little bit of a barren sea. Allow me that pun here. But the thing is, this is also difficult for me as a YouTuber, right? What I'm supposed to make a video about? Another Moffat video? Another Frank Knox video? Playing boats? Nobody cares about this. Playing destroyers that I have to spade, like the French ones? Let me know in the comment section, because this is a serious question. Because aside from the comments when I upload a video, I do not get all that much feedback, right, in between the videos, or aside from the comments of the videos, I get no feedback. Rarely ever does somebody write me on Discord or, message me any other way, on Twitter or in any other way, shape or form, right? And so I'm not really sure what the community, if there is something like a community consisting of 3 brain-dead naval players exists. I have to think of something myself. It's not like straightforward like with tanks and planes who get showered with content from Gaijin's side when it comes to updates, weapon changes. There is always something. But with ships, it's very often similar, and then I have no idea what I should talk about for the remainder of the 20 minutes or so that the video apparently will take place. So I thought to myself, maybe include here a little bit of an old Duck Talks series, because for the remainder of this battle, I'm sitting here trying to angle, trying to happily, shoot at the enemies from the second or third line of battle. The flight times of the shells are relatively long, especially the secondaries. This change was not to the benefit of the usability of those secondaries, to be honest. But, you have to train with it, and they are not the ones doing the main damage if they hit. But, it will add up over the course of a battle. So, what I've done in the meantime is that at the start of April, I did my electric fishing license. And this is probably something that I might have mentioned one way or another, that it was a personal education, right? So this is not something that I did for my workplace. This is more like what I did on a semi-professional hobby side. Now, if you have no idea what I'm talking about, let me try to explain this to you quickly. In Germany, we do it with direct current, so no alternating current or no impulse current. And if you just tune your gear just right, depending on the depth and what the floor is made out of, if it is mud or if it is like gravel. If you tune it right, you get something called galvanotaxis, so that the current that you apply into the water, coming from your anode, basically, however you want to see it, the fish get forced to the net, and then you just can quickly collect them. You can determine them, you can measure and weigh them, you can watch out if they are if there are any diseases or injuries. And in Germany there is something called the Hege, so you're watching out for the fish. There are several different reasons, or if there are some work to be done in the water, for whatever reason, and you just evacuate the fish, and put them where they are then not threatened. It's a huge topic. I needed to do a course for an entire week, and then actually have a test, both theoretical and practical. And now I have a license. And this is something that for every time you go out there and you do this in a body of water, you need to apply for an allowance from the Amt, from the officials. And there is good reason, because this is not for the personal entertainment, but for every sort of information that is written in a book. You have to gather the data, and this is the first crucial part of it, just to see what actually swims around and what still swims around, or what swims around again. I could go into great depths, like from when I was a young boy. I started to read books about what swims in the water in the Danube and the Rhine River. Funnily enough, I'm now actually living near Karlsruhe, where the headquarters of Gulch Entertainment sits, and yet I have never been so far from the game. And I had a wonderful weekend being out there and fishing. And yeah, this is coming right back to War Thunder, because it's not really an enjoyment. There is really nothing to do for me, and I think that this is a really harsh statement and a bad statement for a part of the game that's been in development for a very long time at this point. It's over half a decade, really. And in a couple of weeks, I will actually celebrate my 10 years of continuously daily login, which is crazy in of itself. And I thought to myself, well, a couple of days ago, I already wanted to make a video. I had secured footage from old files, right, from a year ago, just to give a comparison with the HE changes, and it showed it perfectly how useless that HE used to be before the changes a couple of months back. And like 5 minutes in, I had nothing left to talk about. I really had nothing left to talk about, and that worried me a lot, because if a game mode, like if I go back to playing tanks, I could replay now 10 nations, right? Even though there is a lot of copy and pasta going on, you always can just get out your Sherman, your Panzer IV, your T-34 and have a few good games. But in naval, I can complain so much more about what's wrong, regardless of what I'm playing. Patrol boat, destroyer, cruiser, corvette, battleship, battlecruiser, it doesn't matter. There is always a lot of criticism going around, regardless of the ship that I'm playing, because either it's pointless, boring, and stupid, or it is the Scharnhorst. You kind of get the idea. And for a game mode that's been in such a long development cycle, I think there should be much more to show off. I've been contacted by a couple of guys some months back, actually, at this point, no, some couple of weeks back. They brought some new ideas that they wanted to bring forward to Gaijin, and I was reading through it. It was a good idea. We talked a bit about War Thunder Naval Forces, well, Arcade, rather, and there is always a lot of people that have still some good ideas, but let's be honest, a lot of people have given up on Naval. A lot of people just watching from a distance how the Inferno plays out. And I can't blame them, because this is something where you put a lot of effort and time into it, and there is no real reward. There is no end game. There is no satisfaction, rather. I mean, yeah, it's cool if you have the Scharnhorst and you just club some cruisers and they can't touch you while none of the battleships shoot you, because you don't want to anger the Scharnhorst. And it's been like this for a very long time. So the next thing is, and this is one of those big things that I wanted to highlight as well, and I should have mentioned it a bit earlier, but what I'm really worried about is the patch when we have all the big names in the game. Imagine, like, Gaijin snaps a finger, and next patch, or for the next patch, they announce the Yamato, the Iowa, the King George V, some prototype Russian battleship monster, Bismarck, Tirpitz, and maybe the Gneisenau with its 15-inch rework that was actually started to be begun. Imagine they announce this. There will be a lot of hype. There will be a lot of videos being made about the announcement. YouTubers get their clicks, including me. And then the patch drops. And then you see a battle like this, where the spawn area is literally littered with shipwrecks so that you can't maneuver anymore, where you have traffic jams at spawn from the beginning, and people will be so disgusted and will be so turned away to never return, because that was the last trump card that Gaijin had to offer, which is the big name battleships. And then they cannot recover from this. Right now, objectively speaking, Gaijin still has all the cards in their hands, or a lot of good cards to be played out in a way that they can turn around Naval. I guess Gaijin is really sobered by the lack of interest from the community in Naval as it is, but Gaijin kind of fails to understand, or let's say the responsible person at Gaijin headquarters failed to understand that their decision making in developing the game mode is responsible for its success, or rather the lack of. You can see this, that a lot of people don't bother to make videos. There are some YouTubers out there that have really good editing skills, but then you're looking rather for the highlights, and I, as dare I say experienced War Thunder Naval player, I looked through the editing. I can almost feel how much frustration that has been there in trying to capture the footage. In editing, you can cherry pick, but there is always this highlight, and I have to give a shout out here from Dollar Plays, where he also includes the not so successful attempts at doing anything in Naval, because that kind of sharpens the experienced player's view on the topic, on the issue, or the vehicle, game mechanic, or new bomb, anti-ship weapon, whatever. So this leads me to just simply ask the question, are you guys interested in normal videos, like I play a ship and just, ramble about it a bit more in detail, like here? I'm waiting for some big names actually to make some more comparison and to go back to the final charge of the ship reviews, let's put it that way, before, I guess, War Thunder has to be put to rest from my perspective, unless there are some direly needed changes. It is something that is a bit heartbreaking for me because, to be honest, both War Thunder naval section and World of Warships back in the days used to be a very niche game part, or a very niche part of gaming rather. That was exactly what I was looking for, what I was interested in. Also, as a young boy, I read up on ships, the stories about the Kriegsmarine, the U-boats, later then the Battle of Jutland and so forth. This is why I'm so interested in those dreadnoughts, in those interwar battleships, but also World War II, obviously. But that's a no-brainer, like everybody likes big guns, right? But also the more subtle stories. And the long-term viewers of this channel know my collaboration with Drakini Fell, where I'm still allowed to use his 5-minute guides in my ship reviews, which I'm really thankful for. That guy really has made a name of himself. I really have to applaud him here. He's now an accomplished author. He has a very successful YouTube channel, and this is great. It was an honor to be part of it. Now this sounds already like I'm saying goodbye, but that's not the case. Hope dies last, I guess. So here I am, just giving a bit of a hopefully intermediate or half-time review of the game itself. Again, I think that Gaijin has done 90% of the work, and all the changes that would be, I guess, best summarized as quality of life or quality of fun experience in the game, they just kind of left out, right? We have the graphics, we have the ideas, we can at least guess them in their crude form. What's missing is love. And I'm coming back to a very old video of mine, and that was the first Duck Talks, where I made a video about the enduring confrontation. And if you remember the discussion back in the days, Gaijin wanted to have a separate game mode that you have to pay to access, and the backlash from the community was huge. And I guess we had a similar discussion about the enduring confrontations for ships, which honestly is something that I have to give another look. It might not be viable for grinding the lower ranks, but maybe it gives another perspective on scale. Yet it is absolutely, from what I remember and see other YouTubers playing, it is a very interesting concept that shows what Gaijin can do. The only limitation in War Thunder is not the game mechanics or the coding. It's what the responsible person's decisions are, in which direction the game goes. Now, every aspect could be explored in further detail and from various different point of views, like in a very long Perun video, but it has degraded for me the whole experience of playing the game and also making the YouTube channel. It has degraded from an absolute blast, an absolute awesome experience, into a dull experience. And there is one tip for the few of you who are still listening. My best decision in life was that I finished my chemistry degree, that I did not divert into becoming a gaming channel for my livelihood. That was the best decision, because whatever you do, always have options, and you're so depending on your community, on YouTube and Gaijin, and this is a very toxic combination that I cannot recommend anyone to follow, because there are a lot of people out there trying it and they have some moderate success, but at the end of the day, it should be fun, it should be a hobby, not your life. And once it degrades into your life, it becomes pure frustration. Having said this, that's it from me today. Thanks for watching, thanks for listening. Please give this video a like if you did, subscribe if you want to see more. For you, it's just a couple of clicks. For me, it means the world, and we'll see each other in the skies, on the battlefields, and on the waves of War Thunder.